Hey everybody, this is Robbie with Robbie's Reptiles. Today we're going to be talking about why I got two of these pretty ugly geckos and why they're actually something that's going to be super useful for all of my breeding projects. This right here is a brown, almost bald in terms of head structure, unimpressive, unassuming crested gecko. So why did I go ahead and buy two of these and import them all the way from Europe or the Netherlands or Germany? These are F2 crested geckos, and what does that mean? F2 means that they are second generation captive bred and born. So when we originally got crested geckos about 30 years ago, we imported them from the wild in the island known as New Caledonia. When we imported them, we had about 200. 100 of them went to America and 100 of them went to the Europeans. All the crested geckos that we have in domestic production are from those original 100 or 200 imported from the island. So what's really valuable about this is this gecko doesn't have 30 years of inbreeding in it, because all of them were in some way very slightly related. When they're on an island, there's already going to be a lot of inbreeding that accidentally or just naturally happens. What's really valuable about an F2 crested gecko is that it doesn't have muddied genetics from 30 years of domestic breeding. This is, for all intents and purposes, a clean slate, like you're starting over from scratch. I got these from Goldline Reptiles. She has a breeding pair that are about 15 years old now of F1s, which means that they are first generation. And then their parents were from the original import from New Caledonia. So these are only second generation captive born. They have very fresh genetics. A lot of breeders, I included, have an issue with our geckos not eating enough, or they won't eat bugs no matter what we do. They won't grow fast. Well, getting these F2 geckos and incorporating them into my lines, they bolster the instincts in all the geckos that we already have. And so their offspring will eat those bugs immediately. They will have those stronger instincts. They'll be much more inclined to eat their food, to shed properly, to eat bugs, because they have those stronger genetics from the wild. From years and years of domestic breeding and inbreeding, you eventually just start getting these different mutations. Luckily, they happen to make some really pretty ones, but not so luckily, they start to bring out some recessive properties that might be detrimental for the gecko's health. Like when you breed a lily white to a lily white, you end up getting a leucistic that is not viable and it will die. With F2s, you're going to have much stronger genetics. You're going to have much stronger instincts. They're going to be better at breeding. They're going to be much more bug hungry. They're going to eat all their food every single time you feed them. They just have stronger instincts, they're just better at surviving. They're completely free of parasites or insects or anything like that. They are second generation captive born and bred. I'd say that's the sweet spot for getting that really strong instinctual, origin from when they were in the wild, but not having imported them from the wild and having all those health risks and the immorality that comes with that. What I plan to do with these F2s is I'm going to be incorporating them into a lot of my lines, specifically my monochrome line. I want to breed them to that because I want to have really strong genetics in that, because I think it has a very strong future. I also want to do my own F2 Lily line, as well as F2 Extreme Harlequins, Super Dow. I feel like it's something that you can, and maybe I should, mix into everything I have, just to bolster those genetics, have a couple that I sell, F2 lineage, Extreme Harlequins, they're just going to be better at eating. They're going to be better at breeding. They're going to be stronger. They might not have as good of head structure, but hopefully I can breed that out with like only 1 or 2 generations. So then you have ones that are only 5th generation captive bred, essentially, rather than what we're at now, where most of the geckos that we have are 25 years of captive bred or 30 years of captive bred. They've been just bred over and over again to a long distant cousin over and over and over again, and eventually that's when all those bad recessive traits start piling on top of each other. I think being able to cross that F2 will be great, because in order for us to even discover something like cappuccino, a lot of inbreeding had to happen in order to solidify that trait and create and make it into a gene by inbreeding. So by introducing something that's completely wildly different, like second generation captive bred, you're going to bolster those genetics. Whoa. You're going to bolster those genetics and you're going to have healthier offspring, and it's just an overall great decision. I've seen a couple of other breeders start dabbling into the F2 line. I'm trying so hard to find somebody that has F1s for sale, but I'm sure that they're all old disgruntled scientists that don't want to give them up. They might not be the best looking geckos, but genetically they're very valuable and they have a lot of use for all of my breeding projects. So anyway guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you like to subscribe and all that YouTube mumbo jumbo, and I'll see you in the next one.